reason, every single offseason, Cloud9 is in the middle of some kind of, drama, controversy, speculation about all of their moves. It seems like more so than any other team, maybe TSM, but it seems like more so than any other team, Cloud9 is just under that offseason microscope all the time. It's always Cloud9 lost the offseason. What are they doing? They're trolling. What stupid thing are they doing now? They're wasting money. They should have got this guy. They should have got this guy. They're cheap. They're spending too much. It's really all over the place. Despite the fact that over the last couple of years, they're probably the best North American organization. For a while, the story was like, oh, Cloud9, they always have the best international performances for North America, but why can't they get it done domestically? But now, all of a sudden, they've won 2 out of the last 4 LCS titles, and then this year, they still had the best international performance for North America. Like Jack says, his track record speaks for itself. People should trust him. People should have faith in him. But there's still, people doubting him, and we're going to be talking about another one of those instances in this video today. So definitely drop a like if you guys do enjoy it. I would appreciate it so much. And subscribe to stay up to date on all my latest content and to help us hit 10,000 subscribers by the end of the year. That is my big goal, and that would make me happy. So help make me happy by clicking on that button. With that being said, let's get right into this. So the 2020 offseason was defined really by ridiculous amounts of money being thrown around. TSM threw crazy money at Sword Art. Team Liquid definitely threw some big money at Alphari, and Cloud9 definitely threw some big money at Perkz. And the thing that all three of those guys have in common is the fact that they are all no longer on those teams just a year later. Now, out of that whole deal, TSM didn't get much. They didn't win a title. They didn't make it to a finals, and they didn't make it to Worlds, but they still spent, this money on this big salary for Sword Art last year. Team Liquid, they made it to 2 LCS finals. They didn't get a title, but at least they made it to Worlds where, they ended up going 3-3. They lose in a tiebreaker. It's kind of questionable, debatable about just how much, they lost from the whole situation. But Alphari played well. He played good. And then there's obviously Cloud9, who threw a lot of money at Perkz, but from throwing that money at Perkz, they got a title. They got out of groups at Worlds. They, did all right for themselves, but Perkz didn't have the best year individually, so it kind of hurt his stock overall, but it led to a lot of people flaming a lot of the North American organizations, Cloud9 included, that, hey, what the heck are you guys doing? You guys are throwing a lot of money around really, really stupidly. We got to stop doing this. We're in this big esports bubble. We got to stop wasting money on these big name imports who aren't even willing to commit to our North American teams for more than a single year. For like Alphari and Team Liquid, stuff started going bad before then. TSM and Sword Art, never really were able to figure things out. And Perkz and Cloud9, it seems like, things really started souring during Worlds when we started getting some of the rumors and reports that, Perkz could be done with C9, that it could be the last games they were ever playing together. But that whole point of this comes to where we're at today, with this Reddit thread popping up about, C9 Jack confirming what happened with the Perkz situation. He's actually confirming and letting us know what happened with it, how much money they ended up losing in that Perkz situation, and just how bad of a deal it actually was, which I think is really, really interesting. So it all starts out from the Cloud9 subreddit. I can pull this up, where somebody said Jack's pretty good at Twitter for being a senior citizen, which is really, really funny. He had this old tweet, May 30th, money in the bank. This got 8,000 likes. This was a big, big drama-filled tweet. It's from the Valorant world where, Valorant had, or the C9 Valorant team had tens. He's one of the, at the time especially, he was one of the best players in the world. He didn't want to play for Cloud9. He was kind of in contract prison. Cloud9 was like, okay, well, you can play for us or not at all. He, didn't want to play for Cloud9. He ends up getting loaned off to another team, Sentinels, and then Sentinels does really, really well. Well, he's still under contract with Cloud9, so Sentinels needs to pay up. He needs to pay Jack, and I think Sentinels ended up paying like around $1 million to get tens on their team or whatever, and Jack says money in the bank, and that pissed people off because people were like, okay, Jack's seeing his players as just commodities, as just money, whatever, yada, yada, yada. Fast forward to, Valorant champions. It's like Worlds for Valorant. And Sentinels, who spent all this money on tens, they get knocked out in the group stage. Tens doesn't play very well, and Cloud9 makes it out of groups. Jack says market time, talking about how he sold high on tens. He sold at the right time. He's pissing people off all over again. But it's kind of a banger tweet. It's kind of funny, especially, when his Cloud9 Valorant team is doing well and tens and Sentinels aren't. But anyway, it got people to say this. Jack's pretty good at Twitter for being a senior citizen. And this guy, he got 27 downvotes. Stuff was not looking too good for him. He said, I suppose it's good to have money in the bank to cover the cost of the Perkz fiasco. Either way, Sentinels did win Iceland. This is a major tournament they did win. I guess similar to like MSI. He said, so I don't think they're necessarily too unhappy with the move. And C9 is happy because they got a good price. I actually think it is a win-win. And this is where Jack takes to Reddit and drops an absolute banger on us. He said, we barely lost money on Perkz, so negligible, honestly. And that is what is getting a lot of people talking. That's what's getting a lot of people thinking. This is the Reddit thread with like 1,200 upvotes, which isn't an insane amount, but it gets you on the front page of League of Legends subreddit, so it's a story that people are talking about. Top comment's kind of funny. Oh, thank God I was losing sleep thinking Jack could have lost some money, but it is pretty interesting. And by saying they barely lost money, I don't know exactly what he means. Is he factoring in merch sales, sponsorship, anything like that, any of the kind of secondary value that they got from Perkz, or is he just strictly talking about the buyouts and the salary and everything? Because people do go on to talk about this a little bit in the Reddit thread that there's different reports. We don't know exactly what it was, but this guy says, interesting that Vitality agreed to pay the $5-something million buyout, but respect to Jack for dodging that situation. And this guy said the $5 million figure was misreported. I'm fairly sure at least that's where the negotiation started. According to Fion, they finished close to 2.5 million euros, which I think is like close to $2.75 million or something like that. This guy says €2.5 million buyout, so they still lost money. How did he not lose money? And this guy said they got around $3 million from Vitality and gave around $3 million to G2. $11 million was $3 million from the buyout, and then 2.75 per year over 3 years, which I don't think is right, because I do agree with this, where a lot of people said at the time a $5 million buyout with $2 million per year in salary. So obviously Cloud9 isn't paying these next 2 years of the Perkz salary. So even if you heard 9, 10, 11, whatever million, some of that's buyout, some of that's salary. Vitality obviously going to be picking up the salary, and Cloud9 obviously got some kind of money back from Vitality. So People don't really know what to make of this. Again, is Jack telling the truth? Did they maybe not pay as much money to G2? Is Vitality maybe paying more money than is being reported? Is Jack factoring in some of those outside, metrics, which I think it'd be fair to factor in, how much money they're getting from, Perkz jersey sales or extra sponsors or just anything like that, or prize money from the LCS Championship or Worlds or whatever. Or also there is the fact of, just like Reggie, just like Carlos, not everything you read on Twitter or Reddit is 100% true. Jack is not obligated to tell you the truth. He is obligated. I mean, he's not even obligated, but sometimes they like drumming up stories. They like having people like me make videos. They like having people like you guys make Reddit threads for them for the things that they say. So could Cloud9 have lost a non-negligible amount of money? Also, what is a negligible amount of money? Nobody really knows either. It's a little bit subjective. But Jack is claiming that from the whole Perkz situation, they made out pretty well, which if they did, then it ends up being an excellent, business decision from Cloud9. They get Perkz, which was hype, which was exciting, potentially got them some new fans, potentially made them some money, got them an LCS title, got them out of groups at Worlds, and yes, he does leave, but again, if they were breaking even or even close to breaking even, it was a calculated risk. They got a year of one of the best Western players of all time, and in some scenarios it could have went better for them. He could have decided to stay on for longer. He could have came and played better. They could have done better at MSI. They could have done better at Worlds. Now, none of that happened, but that doesn't mean paying a little bit of money wasn't worth the risk for a guy of Perkz's, stature. And then you end up getting to where the Cloud9 roster is headed into 2022, and it really doesn't look all that bad. Even though Jack has gotten a lot of flame for, they should have paid a little bit more for Niski. Fudge shouldn't be switching to mid lane. They should have hung on to Vulcan, yada, yada, yada. Again, the Cloud9 track record over the past couple of seasons, as painful it is for me to admit, has really been pretty good. And if Jack was able to get out of this Perkz situation without losing too much money, when you look at a team like TSM, who probably didn't make out as well in a situation like their contract with Sword Art, honestly, that is a really, really good move by Jack and Cloud9 at the end of the day, and something that you have to commend looking at it, from like a business perspective. But that is pretty much everybody's video today, guys. Tell me, drop a like if you did enjoy it. I would appreciate it so much. Leave a comment down below. What do you think about the C9 and Perkz situation? Do you think it was a good move by Jack, worth the risk? Or do you think C9 maybe still took an L? I don't know. Maybe you don't believe Jack, or maybe you think it was still a bad move. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions. Subscribe, save today, and all my latest content. Hopefully catch you guys in the next one. But until then, peace.